This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and this is just for the Chimera channel, sort of a Q&A updatey thing. It didn't really belong on the reviews channel, but rather on the Chimera fan film channel, as a post-mortem on the Picard season 2 and all that stuff, Q&A type of stuff. I know that with Starship locations, when we started out, we intended to do more of those. We intended to do the David Gerald script. We rewrote it as rewrote the Tribble story as a 25th century story and said it in the future. We did allusion to the past, 78 years earlier, as well. So that was in there. And also we had we did a bunch of episode about that was alluding to the Channel Osma scandal, but wasn't. It was what happened after the scandal, and other people tried to continue it, and they weren't able to. The critical vitriol, and it failed. Their failure in trying to stop it. That's what it was about. Kind of convoluted. We had Star Trek Galaxy, Mike and Rich over there at Red Letter Media and also on Reddit had done I don't know them, but they did their own fan film, Star Trek idea, called Star Trek Galaxy. And they decided to put elements of that in a 2-part episode. Then there was then their characters continued on in other ones. There were 2 episodes about Picard season 1, because there was a lot of Reddit on it, and Lord X for the finale, and Sentinel and Donnie 1 and 2. Yeah, so Chimera. We've already done a bunch of updates, so there's no need to go into all that. Yeah. So we did a first season that was relatively Strange Worlds season that was relatively consistent with using blogs and elements of blog Reddit discussions on other shows. So we used a Reddit discussion on basically a rebuttal to a scandal, which is a really strange thing to do, but because it was kind of spacey and weird and out there, we thought, okay, we can make this a Star Trek story, and then it won't seem that way. So we had this space station DS9 type of thing, where we had them on the planet, and they were relating to this rebuttal that's going on. Only the Tribble one was an original story. That was based on a David Gerald story. Mike Matthews. We invented a character called Mike Matthews and another called Rich Everson. And we loosely based Mike Matthews and Rich Everson on Mike Staloska and Rich Evans, and had them kind of sound a little like them. And had them pitch Star Trek Galaxy as though it was the Reddit discussion of Star Trek Galaxy. In a bizarre change of events thing, Cillian change of events thing. I thought that would be fun for a 2-parter. There was also one where we discussed why certain elements of Star Trek Picard Season 1 were weird by having a 2-part episode about that on a planet, on a gaming planet called Free Cloud. So we had it on that one. Then we had another planet. We went to the Eldani planet. And we went to the Riker Fantasy Planet, the planet from... actually, it wasn't technically supposed to be it wasn't supposed to be originally. It was supposed to be the planet of where the androids were. It was supposed to be the android planet from Picard Season 2. It wasn't really, though. It was this other fantasy planet that they go to. It was a little odd there. And we met Thad Riker, who had been in the Silly Track. He'd been restored to life. Transformers, Star Trek thing, Chimera thing. doing these fan film things loosely based on Starship Chimera, doing this sort of spin-off of it with some of the crew, the older version of Dax, who becomes the captain, and Vince Mahoney's sort of the engineer slash first officer. Cito Jax is promoted to the second officer. She's alive now in this timeline because they rescued her from the Cardassian prison planet, along with Locarno in a previous story before the events of Starship Chimera. So all this stuff is going on. But in this season, we're introduced to an older version of Jeremy Astor, an older version of Alexander Rashenko, an older version of Molly O'Brien and Kiriyoshi O'Brien. All characters from Next Generation and DS9 have come back. So as officers on the Starship Chimera and then the Emmett Till. The Emmett Till is from the Deep Space Nine alleged 8th season, that done up by the people, and then Nog is the captain. It's the A, but only because the other one was allegedly destroyed. So it's the A. It's the Till A, the Till A, Chimera A as well. So there was apparently an incident in 2390 something where the two ships were destroyed. That would have been in Lekia, Phantoma, and Clerks when that happened. Just in that time period. Early universe of 2020 and 2023 were inexorably linked, which leads us to Picard, Season 2, and 2024. Yeah. There's a lot of weird coincidences going on. Yeah, the crews have this sort of goofy, it's silly track thing going on. And there's always been this crossover with the other stuff. Part of what's going on is that our role-playing game from back in high school all the way through college, we kind of lined up Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager with the actual years that things took place. And that created a paradox by which those times would be inexorably linked. And basically 1987 is 2364, basically, and so on. And 1997, 2374, and 2007, 2384, that kind of thing. So 2401, 2402 should technically be 2024. Well, 2022 technically, but the Picard Season 2 got it wrong and said it was 2024. So they are following Cillian timeline in Star Trek Picard Season 2, which is weird because that's a fan film series. That's not Star Trek. That's its own thing. So that's a fan film thing. I'm not entirely sure why they've decided to follow it. I was not involved in the writing room at all. It kind of looks like I was. Kind of looks like I was asked to go in there and fix season 2, episode 10, but not really. And a lot of the Reddit stuff for Picard Season 2, a lot of the Reddit is not discussing Season 2. Trek Core is discussing it more, but there's not enough to do an episode about Season 2. There just isn't enough to do. There's not enough there. So, a form parody of Season 2 would be pointless because it parodies itself. It's even more pointless than having done the Fallen Ones. Except that about a third of the way through the Fallen Ones, Jason Colavito told us not to pretend like we co-wrote a book together. But it makes sense because we didn't co-write a book together, so I took that off. No, just bylines for the episodes, but no, we did not co-write anything. I don't know the guy, so take that off. We did not get anything from Hutton Pulitzer or Scott Walter, who tried to exhume a grave. We didn't get anything from those guys, but they didn't know about the story. But yeah, doing another Ancient Aliens thing, he did approve of that. He Clavito did say it was cool, and Andy White did too. That doing a your own fantasy version where it's Star Trek action figures discussing ancient aliens is actually pretty funny and pretty fun. So we liked it. Yeah, so that's cool. A little weird, but cool. We're not doing that again though. Let's see. Backstory stuff. Continuing this. Yeah, I think I've been over this with Star Trek Meets the Transformers already, but here this is going on the Chimera site. And I know that they already did on the other one. I did the Transformer end of it, saying, "Okay, we're going to do the other Transformer stories," and so that's why I'm doing this. So this is the Star Trek end of it. Update on the Star Trek channel after watching all of Picard and starting on to season 1 of Strange New Worlds. Yeah, and there just isn't enough content to do. There just isn't enough content to do a Picard season 2, and it already spoofs itself. It's already silly track, so why? As I said throughout the reviews of it, it's almost as if they blatantly said, but don't know for sure, of course, which is an exaggeration. That they cribbed it from the Cillian stories anyway, so they went and did their version of Perfect Plan crossed with the Mirror Board War crossed with some of the early episodes. Also a little bit of Mary Sue Jumps the Shark, but not Starship Chimera. They deliberately didn't do Starship Chimera. They deliberately said, we're not going to do that one. That's too current. It's 2019. We know the stories came later, but the stories were based on something earlier. And we're not doing that one because we don't want to show the Q continuum. We don't want to show the Q continuum. We don't want to show all the cool stuff that we could show. Marvel's Doctor Strange showed a Q continuum-like place, this multiverse thing floating in space. They were able to do that. But no, we don't want to do that. Over there, Star Trek. We don't want to do that because that would be cool and interesting, and the fans would like that. But they don't want to do that. So our version is still the Q continuum with action figures. I don't think they're actually copying us, though. I think it's just an incredible coincidence of, but that is weird. But Picard is even weirder because a third of that storyline is silly track. It's the weirdest thing. The idea that they go to time travel to 2024 and Q can't get his powers back for some reason. That's right out of Mary Sue Jumps the Shark. There's a blonde Borg queen. Mary Sue Jumps the Shark. There's a blonde Borg queen. There's a reveal at the end. She takes over another brunette Borg queen. But it's a blonde Borg queen, Girardi, and she's crazy. Just like Girardi. This character is someone else, though, named the Libyan. She and the Chrysian, the Tenactus, have taken over. These two twins, blondes, have taken over the universe. So kind of a Mary-Kate and Ashley thing. That's kind of what's going on. And interestingly enough, in Marvel, Doctor Strange 2, we have Elizabeth Olsen, the younger sister of the two Olsen twins. There we go. But they were actually based on the characters from Pine Hill. That we knew. We won't say their real names. Just that they were based on somebody we knew. Two people we knew, who at the time were not flattered by their names being used in the story, but since then, in the 2000s, when that particular story was written, we had permission from the actual person the Libby was based on, Libby herself, who said, I approve now. I think it's cool. Go for it. Put me in the story. As long as I get to be the Borg Queen. But then it's okay. So, okay, you get to be the Borg Queen on this one. Because Dawn got to be the Borg Queen. Now I'm the Borg Queen. Yeah, I get promoted. Dawn was another character. Slightly older than us, who got to be the Borg Queen too. So a lot of people get to be the Borg Queen. So the new one, Borg Queen. I'm thinking that they just didn't realize that because there aren't a lot of subscribers to my channels, and our channels with Mark's Cards and everything. But the channels have, the reviews channel has over 1,000 videos. The other one has 300 and some videos. And this one has 100 and some videos. The Chimera channel. And they probably just thought, oh, this is a big YouTube influencer. Let's just reference his stuff. Let's just do it. Let's just reference his stuff. You'll like that. Okay. And they've referenced, they even referenced a Red Letter Media in there a couple times. So, in Picard. So, directly. They referenced Half in the Bag at one point. And she's just like, what? So they referenced Half in the Bag. They referenced Star Trek Galaxy, and they were flabbergasted when that happened, that story, I commented, well, you can thank me for that later. I gave them the idea. From my channel, because I talked about it. Yes, they watched my channel. So. It'd be nice if they give me more views, though. That'd be cool. They'd have more than 50,000 views. That'd be cool. But no, I'm not that big. I'm not a shill for either of those companies. Never worked for them. Yes, as you know, the claim to fame Star Trek is the writing contest in the 90s. And been over that before. They do that over there at Pocketbooks. So yeah, I was in their Strange New Worlds writing contest, and I wrote a different version of it, and I made it about the Borg. And that Borg story is remarkably similar to Season 2 of Star Trek Picard. Yeah, remarkably similar. Like a shorty version of it. Oh, surprise, face reveal thing. That's right out of that. Yeah. Okay, so why don't they just hire us? I don't know. Mark Scards and I were discussing this yesterday. Why don't they just hire us? I mean, why not just crib from us? Hire us. We'll show up at the writing room. Heck yeah, we'll do it. I mean, we're not that old that we couldn't do it, you know. But yeah, we're about the same age as Will Wheaton. Why not? He got to appear in a cameo. That was another thing that was interesting about that. His character, the Traveler Wessian, is the Wessian from Silly Track. He was literally playing the Wessian from our story, in that story. He wasn't playing Wes. He wasn't playing Will Wheaton. He was playing the Wessian, the Traveler Wessian. And it is canon that on the Ready Room, an early episode of the Ready Room show, Will Wheaton did reference our fan fiction and said, I recently saw a fan fiction with action figures, a Star Trek, in which they suggested that I had a relationship with a Traveler, and it's canon. And they just went on to do it. Ew, it's canon. No. Yuck. Ew. And of course, Patrick Stewart, John DeLance, who I've seen at conventions, they also acknowledged the other relationship that was in my Kamara fan film, in Picard Season 2, at the end. Yes, they were lonely to be apart from each other. He hugged him and kissed him on the head. Oh my. Because Q wanted to be with Picard the whole time. It's canon. It's canon. But they didn't go to the Continuum. That was unfortunate. My version, they went to the Continuum. You can watch it on this channel. So yeah, writing contest. Yeah, we've been part of this whole thing the whole time. But unlike that producer guy that actually was a producer guy this whole time, we were never producers. But it's just like channel and oh yeah, it's interesting that like they thought we were related to Axonar too. No. We did a report on it on the channel. A report on Axonar's story, what was going on. But had Burnett PM'd it back then and commented on it. Said, you don't understand what's going on. He tried to make money on the thing, and that's why I got in trouble. It was like, he tried to make money, like merchandising and studio to pay actors. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll get you in trouble with Paramount if you do that. Apparently, also recently, this is recent news. The the Angry Joe show, which we watch, also they're more to get gaming influencers. They're out there doing their show. They tried to do a review thing of Picard season 2, and apparently they got flagged by CBS for putting up the reviews on there because there were just too many pictures from footages from it. I'm knocking it away. It's a little disingenuous of CBS Paramount to do that when it's a review. Technically, under the copyright guidelines of 2016 and the current ones, you can show a review of the show. That's fine. Red Letter Media can do it, so they can do it. So there shouldn't be any problem with that. I don't, because I tried to put up reviews of some Star Trek episode. That's why there's no content showing visuals from Paramount and CBS when I do reviews of Star Trek shows, because they do flag it immediately. Like, oh, we don't want you to... I'm figuring Red Letter Media has a lawyer that knows what he's doing. We don't. So we just don't put any content. We just talk about it. So it's fine. Also, the Jesse Gender show does not put up the content. She also just talks about it. Also, there's some other guys that just talk about it because they can't show any content from it. I did like the direction that the new show is going. The Starship Strange New Worlds. This is sort of a blog. I'm shooting the shit, so it doesn't matter what is going on randomly. It's probably really long, but that's cool. Or if it worked for Paramount. If it worked for Paramount, we would have actually like our own. We'd be able to put up our own show and be the Lower Decks is clearly a Silly Trek spinoff, so it's Silly Trek on its own. But like McMahon must have gone to Evergreen or San Jose State with us. We didn't know it. He was aware of us, so he must have, because, not Pine Hill, but San Jose State. And Akiva Goldsman probably did too, but we just didn't know it. Big school. Maybe we did. Yeah. Not Brian Fuller, though. It was amusing, though, when I met David Gerald at the convention, and they called him Mr. Gerald, and he said, "Call me David. My father is Mr. Gerald." Okay. I was just being formal. Here's my script. I heard you do fan films. I want to see. Ew. Yeah, I do fan films. Yeah. Ew, they're with action figures. He said, "Well, I did a fan film. One of my scripts got made into a fan film, Blood and Fire." I said, "Yeah, but I've seen it. It's cool." Well, this is called Escape from the Tribble Planet. We should do that. I did. Took until 2021, roughly, to do that one. We did it. Version of it. The Treble Queen, which actually, that's more of a Queen Carlotta. She was actually more like the Treble Queen. She was more like divine. Not Queen Carlotta, but divine. Divine. And there's Koloth and Cyrano in it. Stuff. 20th century. So we could do... I was trying to explain that other Star Trek thing before, but it doesn't make much sense. There was 78 years between the classic Trek and Next Generation. Meaning that the classic Trek era ended around 2296. So the Next Generation starts in 2364. Original Star Trek 5-year mission was 2264 to 2269. That's what it was. The cage and all that stuff was allegedly 11 years earlier than that. 11 years earlier than 2266. Because of the menagerie, right? So it was 2256. And that's about when they showed the Star Trek Discovery. That's about roughly. But the new show is 2259. It really should be earlier, but well, I can't fix it now. I'm thinking all the new stuff. I'm going to go with the Chez La Vie explanation from Trek Core. That being, after First Contact, everything like Star Trek Enterprise was all a different timeline. It's just similar, but different. So everything after that is a different timeline. So that it's slightly off. Okay, well, that makes sense. Also, their explanation for black holes, sure, why not? Yeah, the red matter is not really a black hole maker. It's just something that looks a little like it. Fine. Okay. The Abrams universe, okay. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so it doesn't need to, follow the canon exactly. But still, it is uncanny that the Picard show did what it did. It's uncanny the new show is doing what it did. Early on, doing the Arbiter. right away, right out of the gate. Arbiter. Did that one. I had nothing to do with it. Canada Dry. It's from Canada. This is not in Canada. Yeah. Not in Canada right now. Nope. Anyway, so we have something in it. Yeah. So I suppose you're wondering, have I ever done a live-action Star Trek fan film? Well, I almost did. During the making of Chimera, the Starship Chimera, which took 13 years to finally get done by 2019. It took a long time to put that together. We had a sister series, a cousin series. And Story's brother was putting up a series called Star Trek Excalibur that was going to be shot in Las Vegas. The Vegas Star Trek experience back when that was a thing. So they were going to have a cast and crew and writers. And I was going to be one of the writers, and I was going to be on the show in the fan film. It didn't happen. It never finished. They did a sort of a crowdfunding pilot in a library in Vegas, and you can find that online. The Star Trek Excalibur crowdfunding pilot. I wasn't in it, but everyone else was, and including his mother, which was funny. As the Admiral, which was funny. But yeah, needless to say, it didn't happen. I'm not going to say whether the acting ability was any better than, well, or worse than any other fan film. I've seen better ones though. I've seen the fan films that the Cottons are involved in and Foley are involved in are actually really good. There's short fan films with and they have the modeling techniques now, so the models look good. They're pretty good. The fan films do. But yeah, it's going to be an Star Trek Excalibur. That was the name of it. And it would have been set in the TOS era, just before Star Trek the movie. So it would be like in the same universe as Star Trek Continues, the Mignogna thing. And they're like, he had other issues. It would have been in that universe. Yeah. Bridge. Not the bridge. It's not the Enterprise. It's the Excalibur. There you go. Well, it's the Enterprise too. It's how long ago was this? What am I doing? What am I doing in this picture? What am I doing? The Star Trek Experience Tour is actually what this was. Alright. His on-chin style uniform. The Voyager guest star uniform right there. There it is. It's got my name in it. The Experience and other places. Yep. Cast member. Yay! There it is. Star Trek 09 uniform. There it is. It's all wrinkly. Oh no, what'd I do to it? Star Trek 09. Yeah. This is not Star Trek related, but it is cast member Joan Swan and crossover with Ernie Reyes, and this is from Three Ninjas and Three Ninjas Kick Back. Let's see. Brief We were younger back then. You just figured I was probably a kid in it. Well, practically. It was, what, 19? Yeah, I was still a kid. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, lots of Star Trek adventures and stories. You know, the Chimera channel is wonderful. So, yes. It's like, unlike these other fans that freak out about their stuff being used in Star Trek, I like it. Free advertising.